Hey, what's up? I'm back with comic reviews. Got a good little bit here for this week, and big surprise to those of you who watch me mostly review Marvel stuff and on occasion DC. I have Spawn in here because I finally got caught up with all of the back issues since I quit reading it. I actually stopped reading Spawn after issue 185 when Al blew his own damn head off, and really wasn't interested in it after that. And along the course of this year, I've heard some really good things about Spawn, mostly because it was getting a little bit closer to what Todd McFarlane had seemed to envision for Spawn, and now we're starting to see some fruition with it. Issue 214, getting caught up, I will say is an okay issue right now. And that's mostly because it's part 3 of a 6-issue story arc, so it's intermediary stuff. Excuse me. Jim Downing is an interesting guy in fleshing out more about his back history and all that. I think they did an excellent job with this, much more than they did with Al Simmons back in the early 90s. This is really good. But this issue in its entirety is okay. It's a little dialogue heavy, but mostly it's Jim Downing confronting Mr. Ramis, the vampire, and Downing pretty much has Ramis by the balls, and he's letting him know it. Somebody was blackmailing Downing. Now Downing's going to come back and blackmail you with interest. And we're kind of striking up an uneasy alliance in between Downing and Ramis' corporation because of Malboja. Malboja's master plot is in the works right now, and he's almost there to gathering himself whole again. And Downing says that whatever's about to go down, he thinks he's the big part of, and Ramis pretty much agrees with him. And Ramis just sits there and lets himself be plucked like a chicken. And at the same time, at the end of this issue, Jim's buddy is confronted by someone who's saying that he's being tailed, and there's an interesting little reveal about who it is that steps in to aid him. I will not say who it is, but for long-time Spawn readers, this guy's been out of the picture for quite some time now, but it is good to see him back in this. I give this issue 3 out of 5 cold ones. Like I said, it's an intermediary issue, but the Spawn stuff has been really good, and I do recommend this. So I am officially back on board with Spawn now. Trap it over to Marvel with X Factor number 228 by Mr. Peter David. Part of the fun about reviewing X Factor is you don't spoil it for those, because otherwise, if they know what's going on, they're not going to have fun when they sit down to read it. Let's just say the stuff with the Hangman is dealt with in here, and also with Bloodbath. The stuff that I do decide to say, Peter David does a very hilarious job of opening up this issue with Bloodbath in the guise of someone monologuing a recap for this issue, which is pretty damn funny. And so it's kind of like a breaking the fourth wall kind of deal. And besides being, pretty fucking hilarious, David is paying off some stuff in here. Goblin pointed out the twists with Layla Miller in this issue. I was surprised by the last one, I will agree. And it leaves off with a very interesting ending, I'll say that much for it. It's not a cliffhanger, this issue, but there could be something from that last image that we do see. I will recommend this issue. It's good. Recommending it on the basis that I haven't talked about it that much, that's Peter David for you. You just have to pick it up and go with it, and you won't be disappointed by it. Solid 4 out of 5 cold ones for this one. Jumping along to Marvel with Venom number 10. Mr. Rick Remender, I'm on board after last issue, and I've got to say that this is terrific. Excuse me. Steve Rogers comes a calling of the Venom dressed up in the Captain America garb is a little misleading, but there is a slight spoiler on this cover. I just won't say what it is. But Steve Rogers is stepping into Project Rebirth, and he's come to pretty much say, hey, we're shutting you guys down. And at the same time, Flash is dealing with burying his father, but then he's working doubly hard in order to keep his anger contained in front of Betty Brant and the rest of his family, because Jack-o'-lantern, being the bastard that he is, shows up at his funeral and takes him to his boss to continue to flesh out the deal that was made in between Venom and this guy back in issue 4, I believe, which was what the recaps were saying. This is pretty solid. Remember, waste no time in getting down to business. And reading his X-Force and seeing what he's doing here, he's doing terrific things with this. Flash Thompson has really got his hands full. And then it kind of complicates things further when he has to fight Captain America, who has no idea that Flash Thompson is inside the Venom costume. Steve has deemed the symbiote too damn dangerous, and he wants to take it and see to it that it doesn't fall into the wrong hands, but Flash will have none of that, since he's caught in the bit of Shylock's bargain, if you will. It's an old additive, which is a guy named Shylock made a statement about it being impossible to extract a pound of flesh from the body without spilling a drop of blood. It's a disgusting analogy, I know, but just go with it. But it best describes the type of situation that Flash Thompson is in right now. Mexican standoff holds nothing to what this situation is. It's really good, and you know that no matter what the outcome, there's going to be some kind of casualty come later on for Flash Thompson and his personal life. The issue is solid. I do highly recommend it. And in fact, I give this one a solid 5 out of 5 cold ones. Terrific job, Rick Remender. Now, swapping it over to DC, let's get down into business. Speaking of being caught up with Spawn, I also got caught up with Full Metal Alchemist, which that review will be coming after this. But I'm also now caught up with Batman and Batman Detective Comics. Since I finally got the first issues, I could read them. Oh, stand up. This is a little bit of the conclusion of dealing with the Dollmaker. Dollmaker is a bad son of a bitch. He's just going crazy here. Batman's working his way into finding him, and the opening part of this issue is a little bit of humor to undertone through a lot of the dark stuff here. He's giving a guy a swirly trying to get information on where the Dollmaker is, which is pretty funny. And, man, this Dollmaker is a beast. He is working his way up in there, as Goblin said, of being a villain of Batman, kind of along the lines of Two-Face or the Penguin. You're dealing with, all the Jokers in here, and then we kind of have something which, to me at least, it pretends something that may come. At least something that might come up big in between the Dollmaker and the Penguin. It's a kick-ass issue all the way around, and I'm kind of interested in what they're going to do with this young lady. And the ending of it is it put a little knot in the pit of my stomach, but it's still pretty hot. I do recommend this issue, along with Detective Comics. Fully on board with this one now, too. Terrific job, Mr. Daniel. I give this one a solid 4 out of 5 cold ones. Besides my prattling along, let's move along into Swamp Thing number 4 by Mr. Scott Snyder. To give a basic rundown on this, we're still continuing the search for young William Arcane. Alec and Abby are working together to find him. And we have this nasty little scene of him walking into a diner, and we get a further demonstration of what his powers are like, as well as a warning from the Parliament of Trees again to Alec Baldwin, pleading with him to jump on and help join in the fight against the Rot and against Seti. we have an interesting little spread here, which I have to show off, which we get a little background issue on. Half of it is unfolded in the green, and the other half is in the rot. Marco Rudy does a terrific job with the artwork in here. And apparently I'm still out of the loop because I'm not reading Animal Man. But there are mentions made of the red, and I have heard that Animal Man seemingly is a representation of that force. So I may need to go back and pick up Animal Man to check out what's going on in there. But, yeah, there's some further history given by the Parliament of Trees to Alec on the background of the Swamp Things, as well as a warning concerning Abby and a problem that she may pose to Alec later on. I'm really enjoying this thing with Swamp Thing. Definitely kick ass. I do give it 5 out of 5 cold ones. But my pick of the week. 5 out of 5 cold ones is the best. I may have to swap that up. I'm working on this, but I will say for most improved issue, I would have to give it to Action Comics number 4 right now. My rating system is still needing a little tinkering, but Action Comics number 4 will be my pick of the week, mostly because of all the action that does take place in this. Young Superman is having to deal with Metallo now. John Corbin has been hooked up to the machine that was built by John Henry Irons, and we do get the debut of Steel in this issue, and we get a large throwdown in between Steel and Metallo. Superman joins in the fray a little bit, but he also has to fight off an entire army of robots. Brainiac is kind of a no-show in this issue. He's there in presence, but then we do get a little reveal of him at the end of this issue, which is quasi-weird, but still cool at the same time. Rags Morales on the artwork, if he ever watches this, does a terrific job with it. I just enjoy the Superman. The writing, which I'm a little on the fence about. Again, Grant Morrison has done good with this. I wouldn't be continuing reading this if I didn't enjoy it. But the problem of it being a little too busy is still there. Usually, in my experience, I would think that sometimes a comic book would take a little bit, and this might, the level of action that is taking place in here would probably be the stuff that would take place usually in the second or third story arc in a series. But Morrison is wasting no time in getting down to this. If there's a lot going on in here, and you're a quasi-Superman fan, and there's a lot that you don't know about, you better pay attention to this, as I said. I do have to critique this on actually two things, however. Number one, we have a backup feature which does finish the fight in between Steel and Metallo. I don't know why you couldn't finish it in the issue, but the backup feature is good. But then it's said that we're going to continue with this in Action Comics number 7. I haven't really paid attention to previews yet, but I'm kind of wondering if this is a misprint or something, but apparently they're deciding to take and do an interlude for the next issue or two. I don't know why, but apparently that's what they've decided to do. Maybe we'll get some backstory, hopefully, which can be relevant in some way, but the continuing the story in issue 7 is a little bit of a tick with me, so we're not going to be seeing the conclusion of this possibly until March. But aside from the qualms that I have with this, the writing is good, even though it's so damn busy, and the art is good, and that's why it earned my pick of the week for this week. Hope you guys enjoy this, and please join me shortly after this for my review of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, The Conclusion. So until next time, I hope you guys had a great weekend, and I hope you have a better week, so catch you guys later.